Sometimes the best way to deal with a crisis or a dark period is to parody it. There are numerous games that deal with post-apocalyptic scenarios, many of which revolve around the premise that there has been some sort of deadly viral outbreak. It is important, though, to distinguish between reality and fantasy, and this review is made with no intention of making light of this current global pandemic. For those of you who may struggle to make a clear distinction between fantasy and reality, the following might serve as a guide. Reality is that which exists regardless of the criteria of human thought, hope, imagination, or belief. Reality is not dependent on any of those criteria. Fantasy is that which is not, which does not exist and is created via human thought, hope, imagination and belief. It is completely dependent on those criteria. This reviewer had almost passed Days Gone By. After having seen some trailers and a few videos, the game seemed very much to be something different to that which it actually is. It seemed to be an open world The Last of Us, and since this reviewer holds that game in particular regard, there was an idea that this would just be a poor imitation. Well, Days Gone has proven to be anything but a poor imitation of The Last of Us. It is in fact much more similar to Avalanche Studios' 2015 Mad Max and Rockstar Studios' Red Dead Redemption 2 than The Last of Us. Days Gone is in fact a delicious, slow-burning, epic, story-driven open-world adventure set against the outbreak of a deadly pathogen set in a fictional recreation of Oregon in the United States of America. The game boasts some beautifully created, highly detailed environmental work with a landscape that changes in mood due to variable weather effects and a day-night cycle that affects the creatures within it. As with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, it is again remarkable to see the level of detailing that has been reached within the new Unreal Engine. What is particularly impressive to see is how the story and narrative have been intertwined into the freedom to explore and discover. Similar to great open world RPGs such as Fallout 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2, for the majority of the time, the player's freedom to choose what they wish to do and when is there. John Garvin, who was also one of the game directors, has written a surprisingly nuanced and complex story that is narratively implemented to great success within the game's structure. Undoubtedly, the main strength of the game is the constant feeling of tension that perpetuates throughout this experience. This has been achieved through the use of limited resources and a light survival mechanic layer. Regardless of how much you progress, even on a normal level of difficulty, there is a constant threat of running out of resources and bullets. When you see your first horde, it quickly puts things into perspective. The game's world constantly feels alive and dangerous. Every trip, new location and mission makes you consider your approach, how much inventory you have, how much fuel you have for your bike. Although this can at times be a bit of a burden, it nevertheless strengthens that constant tension. Knowing when to avoid combat, use stealth or to run away is just as important as being properly equipped for an all-out fight. Of course, no game is perfect. One of the largest problems for this reviewer was with reference to enemy marking. Enemies can be marked using binoculars, but later on you are able to unlock a specific skill similar to the listening skill in The Last of Us, which will highlight nearby enemies. However, these enemies become highlighted in a yellow silhouette, which can be difficult to see at times, only for a limited time, and annoyingly are not marked after the silhouette dissipates, which can render the skill useless in many situations. As Hideo Kojima discovered with Metal Gear Solid 5, if you have an open world and enemies able to approach from any direction, provision must be made, as the player's ability to see is restricted by a camera view. Nathan Whitehead delivers a sublime musical landscape, a mixture of country music, ambient synth sounds and orchestration that blankets the experience with moods from the dark and horrific to the mysterious through to the romantic. With a huge amount to explore and do, as well as a new Game Plus mode and separate challenges, the game will keep players occupied for a very long time. Days Gone is an exceptionally well-crafted open-world game which forges its own unique identity amongst the multiple games dealing with the same type of scenario, delivering an extremely well-written, memorable story. This reviewer is definitely glad that they stuck around and took their time to ride through Oregon.
I wish you could see just what you do to me. Why don't you speak no more? I'll tell you how it goes when nobody really knows just who you are today. And I just want